Hello and welcome to Ellaeenah Ascension Network. I am Ellaeenah, and I am honored to be your light friend eternally. Through inspired meditations and channelings from the cosmic overlord JadeFire and other divine masters of white light, let us proceed together on our spiritual journey as lovers of Gaia and beings of divine light. I invite you to visit our sacred space of learning and oneness, www.jadefirelight.com/blog, to read and hear discourses that provide self-empowering divine wisdom. From my soul to yours, in love light and faith divine, I am Ellaeenah JadeFire. What is synchronicity? What is being manifest through this synchronicity? It is the power of intuition. I am going to divide this word into two parts. Intuition. The oldest definition of tuition is guardianship, custody. It's in as in inward, tuition, guardianship. There is something within us which we have to guard, which we are custodians of. What is this within us that has been given to us to keep safe and secure and to protect? This something that is within us is the I, capital I. The I, which has within its embrace everything physical, non-physical that exists on earth, around earth, in the universe, created and yet not created, all comes under this I. Where you and I are concerned, the I has taken on a dual face. The I, which is symbolic of who you are. The other part of the I is the I which is consciousness of the larger I. It is this consciousness of the larger I that we are supposed to protect and guard within us. The greater is your consciousness of the larger I, the more heightened is the awareness of your environment, which includes time and space and non-time, non-space. If your focus is on that I, on the consciousness of the larger I, your awareness will be heightened. Your awareness of the environment that you are in, time and space related, and the environment that you are in, which is not related, not regulated, not influenced by time and space. It is this part of the I which we have to guard, which we have to train. That is that inner part which is intuition. The more you focus on that I, naturally, the more heightened, as I've said, your awareness is. And therefore, out of that heightened awareness comes those feelings. I think my friend will call me up right now. And lo and behold, your friend calls you up. Why? Because when you are in tuition,
a faithful custodian of this part of the I, which is the consciousness. Your awareness is heightened of all dimensions, time and space controlled and time and space not controlled, going beyond time and space. Develop that consciousness. This consciousness is what makes the inaudible audible. When you are in a state of meditation, a state of inner stillness, inner silence, there are thoughts that you can hear. We don't regularly hear thoughts, do we? How is it that suddenly thought begins to have a voice? How is it that suddenly energy seems to have a color? What is happening is that you are becoming aware of the intangible in a manner that is tangible for you. So when people tell me I'm seeing it as red, I am willing to go along with that even if I see it as blue. Why? Because that person's consciousness will translate the intangible into a tangible that that person can relate to. Whereas the same intangible will be translated into the tangible which I can relate to through my consciousness. Your intuition has a very important task. Its task is to translate the inaudible into audible, the invisible into visible, the intangible into tangible. And in order to do this, it must use the limitations of your belief system. So if you are still caught in the tangibility, audibility and visibility of energy, of consciousness, you will get those experiences, whereas another who has gone beyond that need for tangibility, audibility and visibility will find nothing. There will be only an inner experience of energy which will be extremely difficult to put into words. So when we are developing our intuition, the first thing that we have to attempt to move beyond is the need for validation of consciousness through tangible means. It's great to have validation through tangible means. The problem is it's so good that you tend to get stuck in that phase and don't wish to move beyond. There is this need of the small I to constantly be in the limelight. Now, when your focus of attention is on that small I, even in this manner where you wish it to be tangible, audible and visible, where you wish to bring consciousness down to the level of the small I, your constant focus on that small I will limit your consciousness to the small I's expanse. You will not be able to expand further. The expanse of this I is very, very limited. The expanse of consciousness is infinite. So, the first thing one has to do with intuition is decide, where is my focus going to be? If you wish to focus on consciousness, on that I which is conscious of the larger I, then the need to get validation of consciousness through tangibility, audibility and visibility must be overcome first. In fact, you can go one step further. Each time you get a validation of that nature, instantly make yourself aware that you have limited consciousness in your tangible framework. That energy was much more, but you have no understanding of that much more because you took the largeness and forced it into a small box. Most people try to develop intuition from that small box. And it can be done to a certain extent. Through meditative practices, through yoga, through breath control. Yes, it can be done. Right? So that box is this big. The small eye can be expanded to reach all four sides of the box completely till there is no more space in it. Once this box is filled, there is no further growth, expansion or development. For that to happen, that box has to be broken. So the more you're aware of the box, the easier you will let it go. Then you come to the second phase of intuition, guarding that part of you which is consciousness, which is the I am God part. So we'll assume that we have moved beyond the need of the box. Now what do we do with this consciousness? How do we train our consciousness, that part of I, to move into and merge with the larger I? To be aware of more and more of the larger I. How is that going to be possible? You have to train consciousness, but in a most physical manner. So, in this physical, bounded, encapsulated structure, we have to move beyond to consciousness, to its infinite expansion. To do that, we need to address what do we believe of ourselves. Not of others, not of the universe, not of the world. What do we believe of ourselves? Your expansion will always be as large as your belief of yourself. If you can intrinsically believe I am God, your consciousness is unbounded. So the second step is working towards this belief, the I am God belief. As you work towards it, there will be two hurdles that you will face. The first hurdle will be that of conditioned ego. The belief system is directly influenced by your love for yourself. Think of it. When you are in a good place, and if a challenging task is given to you, you will accept it quite readily with a little bit of gusto and say, yes, I'll do it. But if you are in that discomfort zone and a challenging task is given to you, you'll say, no, I don't want to take it up. I don't think I can do this. You react in two ways at two different points in time, depending upon how much you love yourself. That place which is the happy place is the time when you love yourself. When you've not picked up the whip and are whipping yourself. But in those times when you're whipping yourself, you're in a very, very, very uncomfortable zone. And in those times, you cannot see your largeness. So the belief system that you have of self comes directly from self-love. What you believe of yourself is how much you love yourself. To change that belief system, you're going to have to ask, how much do I love myself? The only real love is self-love. The love between man and woman is an artificial imitation. The love between parent and child is at the threshold of the temple of love. The temple of love is built only from self-love. So the truth really is, you can love another in as much as you can love yourself. So if you have to develop intuition, what you really have to develop is self-love. When the eye of consciousness, which we call the eye, EYE of Shiva, when the eye of consciousness is awakened, it can see the small eye and understand the ignorance or the hurt from which the small eye sometimes reacts. Simultaneously, it can see that the only component, and this is important, the only component in the energy structure of the small eye is the energy of love. There is no other component in your energy structure. Your energy structure is woven from threads of love, and I mean self-love. So it can see the energy structure of love, and it can see the pain and the resistance that comes out of that pain, and it can see the ignorance. Would you judge a child of 3 for failing an MBA examination? Would you beat it? Would you call it names? If you can accept that of yourself, in your moments of that which you call failure, in your moments of that which you call weakness, if you can accept that this is a moment of A, either ignorance, or B, inner pain, move beyond and say, all right, so in this moment, I'm in my discomfort zone, let's say because I am angry. What else about me can I find in this moment to focus on? Let's assume it's your generosity of spirit. That's not an empty ego exercise. That's not vanity. That's self-love. So shift the focus from the anger to the generosity of spirit, and start thinking of all those times you have given of self. Self-love can be developed slowly but certainly only by constantly shifting your focus from the discomfort zone to the comfort zone. When you are in that comfort zone, that is the time to now analyze that moment of pain or moment of ignorance. You cannot analyze a moment of pain or a moment of ignorance when you're caught in it. And because you are occupying the space of consciousness instead of the space of the small eye, your heightened awareness will give you the reason of what took place. If you can do this every single time, within 6 months, your belief that I am God will be complete. With that belief, you will be in a state of constant focus on the consciousness of the larger I. When you are constantly in that space of the larger I, your awareness of environment that you can see and not see, hear and not hear, will be heightened. In short, intuition has been developed. So let us remember, we have taken birth as guardians, as custodians, to guard and keep sacred that part of I which is in full connection to divine consciousness. How will you be a good custodian if at every moment you are chiding yourself about something? If you are being critical of others, you are not in a space of self-love. Focus on loving self. When that self-love is complete, when you're in that temple looking at that image which is your own, you will know, I am God. Your knowingness of I am God will instantly expand the consciousness to a limit that you cannot even fathom just now. And then you will be aware of all the energy that exists within that consciousness. Every word of criticism against another is actually a word of criticism against self. So look at self and think, what am I criticizing myself about? What are the aspects of me that I'm not comfortable with? Alright, X weakness. Against X weakness, I must find a strength. Every weakness can only be addressed from a position of strength. If you try and work on a weakness from a position of weakness, you can't do it. Let us all develop our intuition. Let us be the most sacred guardians, loving that fragile but oh so strong part of the I that's conscious of the larger picture.